everyone, welcome back to my channel. How are you guys doing today? I hope you guys are doing well. So today guys, I have with me
Maria,
and we'll be checking out this video from Charlie Kirk debating a college student, and it's titled "The Best Immigration Debate of the Second Trump Term." You guys, I'm excited, and if you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please consider subscribing. Give this video a big thumbs up, comment, share, and all that good stuff. And without much ado, let's see what this is all about.
Hello. Hello, Mr. Kirk. My name is Alex. A question I had for you: the Trump administration recently has been initiating deportation proceedings against lawfully present immigrants for what is clearly constitutionally protected speech. Do you think that that's consistent with our Constitution and our values as Americans?
Got it. So I wasn't sure what. So there's like 5 cases that you could have went with, but I'm guessing you're talking about Mahmoud Khalil and the students, right?
Mahmoud Khalil is one case, but recently student visas have been revoked at this campus and at the University of Michigan.
I'm glad they're revoked here. So, yes, of course it's consistent with the Constitution because they're not U.S. citizens. They're visitors. So as a visitor, you have to be a visitor on our terms. And if you break that compact, you are returned back to your country of origin. A student visa is a conditional invitation. We're going to see who you are, how you act, and how you behave. And if you behave in a way that the government deems to be unsatisfactory, of course you're going to be returned back to your country of origin.
What I would say to that, one, the Supreme Court and our Constitution is very clear that constitutional rights apply to everyone within the United States' jurisdiction.
To a limited extent. For example, you're correct. If a student on Michigan State campus has a student visa and they get charged with a crime, they get due process. You are correct. They get Fifth Amendment rights. But can they own a gun?
I think restrictions on their ownership of firearms
Can they vote?
Constitutional. They cannot vote.
So there are restrictions on rights for visitors. So to an extent, you are correct. True. But it is not the same rights that we as U.S. citizens are granted. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. There are limitations on those rights.
That makes sense, particularly in the exercise of political rights, like voting, which
For
is
sure.
an exercise of political power.
But second to that is also political advocacy. As a visitor, you do not have unlimited free speech rights. You don't. They are conditional to you being expelled. And the specific act that you're talking about says that if the government deems the speech of the individual to be contrary to U.S. foreign policy interests, which I think advocating for Hamas is against the U.S. foreign policy interest, then we can send you back to your country of origin. Now, you would have a case if we were all of a sudden deporting or imprisoning U.S. citizens. I would be right there with you saying that you can support Hamas all you want as a U.S. citizen. You have a right to do that. But if you're a visitor, you're here on a trial basis. Your tryout is going, we're looking at how you're behaving, and if we look as if that it's inconsistent with how we want people to assimilate to this country, then you go back to Libya or Syria or wherever you're from.
I'd like to make 2 points in response to that. First, the Supreme Court at least suggested in a case called Kleindienst versus Mandel in the 1950s that the First Amendment does apply to immigrants, to people who are not citizens, and that they do receive First Amendment protections. But second, I want you to think about the kind of country we live in. If the Secretary of State can deport any non-citizen they want for their speech, you would have police and ICE going up to people at protests on campuses, including protests you might agree with, and asking people for their papers. I think that that's completely inconsistent with the values you've talked about of freedom of speech. And I think that's not the kind of country that most people would want to live in.
It's a fair point. I have a different perspective. Do you think there should be any, let's just push your contention to the largest possible logical extreme, should we be able to have any reason to deport a student who here's on visa?
Yes, absolutely.
What would that mean? By what criteria would it be? Probably like committing a crime, right?
If they commit a crime, if they committed a visa application fraud, there's many reasons that you can deport people.
So let's like wind the clock back a little bit to maybe World War II. And let's say that a student, this is a hypothetical, so it's not a great one. Let's actually do more recent. Let's say during the Iraq-Afghanistan war, okay? Where we were in a bitter battle against Al-Qaeda right after 9/11. I don't think we ever should have invaded Iraq for the record, but that's a separate issue. Let's say a student was here on a student visa from Afghanistan saying that they support Al-Qaeda. Is that worthy of deportation?
What are your thoughts on this video? I totally agree with Charlie Kirk as always, because as a visitor or as a student in another man's country, you obviously have limitations. If an American is behaving irrationally, you as a visitor, you don't even have to behave that way, because if you do and you get caught, they have every right to deport you back to your country. One thing I know is that once you are a visitor, behave like a visitor. Don't go overboard and be doing things that an American citizen is doing, because before you know what is going on, you will find yourself back in your country.
That's
but
not
what
your
do you
home.
think?
That's not your home in the first place. So like she said, you cannot just go to, maybe you had you were a visitor, you went to visit somebody's house, and then you are ordering, you are asking for things that you know it's not your right. So no, you don't have the right to do
Commit
anyhow
crime,
you
yeah.
like. React to things that are not your right.
They don't concern you at
No.
all. If an American citizen is throwing tantrums, you don't need to throw
your own
tantrums.
is-
You understand?
You
too?
did not go there to do that. Especially maybe you went for school stuff. You have to focus on your school matter.
Because a lot of illegal migrants in America are actually committing crime because they know that their names or their data is not in the database, so there's no way of tracing them. And this is the reason why Donald Trump has decided to start deporting them back to their home countries. Imagine coming into someone else's country and you are committing crime left, right, and center. What do you now want the government to do? It's better for the government to deport every illegal migrant in that country in order to be able to curb the crime rate or the insecurity that is rising in America. So I totally agree with what the government is doing. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and let's continue watching, you guys.
I would say it would depend on the factual circumstances. If you could prove that they gave material support to Al-Qaeda,
Well, by
then they obviously should go.
advocating for Al-Qaeda as a student visa.
Mere advocacy, I would say, should not warrant deportation.
Okay,
but
we just disagree. That's fine.
but I would say it's worth pointing out that the Trump administration is not invoking the provision of the Immigration and Nationality Act that allows you to deport people for supporting terrorism. They are not invoking that. They are invoking instead
the Secretary of
the
State
Secretary
provision.
of State.
Yeah, no, I'm aware.
So if all these people supported terrorism, why not invoke the provision that says you can deport people?
Well, you guys can come up, come wait in line.
terrorism.
It's fine. Okay, we'll send some medical help. We got it. Let's not draw our eyes there. It actually makes it worse. So let's just keep going. Pray for that person. We'll get them medical help. Thank you, guys. More attention actually makes these situations sometimes worse. So we just disagree, and that's fine. I believe that if you are on campus advocating for Hamas, that basically you as a visitor should not come to this country, period.
All right.
I think it's a pretty simple claim.
Last brief point, Mahmoud Khalil was a lawful permanent resident with a green card. Does that change your analysis at all? You're fine
No.
with... So he's not necessarily a guest in the same way as someone with the
Well,
student
a
visa.
green card is a guest. It's not a U.S. citizen.
Okay, so if you're fine, would you be fine with Kamala Harris, if she was elected president, saying my foreign policy interest is we're against racism, so we will be deporting any conservative
That's the best
student on
argument you can make.
campus?
That's the best argument that you've made.
So what would your argument be to a hypothetical President Harris?
To a hypothetical, first of all, is racism a foreign policy objective of the U.S. government? I mean, under Kamala Harris, I could see her saying something as insane as that.
I mean,
So-
the Trump
No, I'm saying
administration cited
you're-
anti-Semitism,
you're
which is
ma-
basically the same thing.
You're making a good point.
Okay, all right, thank you. So you would have no principled response to a hypothetical President Harris.
My principled response would be that's not a national security foe that you could target, like Hamas. However, to your point, could this provision be abused in the future? Yes. Why am I largely in support of it? Even more than the specifics, I think we need to push back on this idea that you can behave however you want while you're a visitor, and there's nothing we can do to expel you. That's my larger macro premise, that while you are a student here, or whatever, a visitor, we have a right to send you back to your country of origin if you don't fit into agreed upon American values. But you made a good point. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Like Charlie Kirk said in this video, when you are in America and you commit a crime, the American government has the right to send you back to your home country. And also, I love the way Charlie Kirk was very, very respectable. Even when they disagreed during this debate, you can see how respectable he was without even getting offensive or being insultive. That's one thing I love about Charlie Kirk. He's very, very patient with his debaters. He was so respectful even when they disagreed, and I really love this debate. He has said everything that needed to be said. I love the fact that Charlie Kirk was very, very respectful. Even when they disagreed, he was still...
He found a way to calm the guy down.
Yeah. And the guy was not even rude in any way. So I would say this, first of all, is a very, very calm debate. And like he said earlier, if you are in another man's land, you have to really, really behave like you are in another man's land. You don't go to another man's land and start causing trouble, start committing crime, committing nuisance, which is one thing that most of these illegal migrants in America are actually doing. Because most of these illegal migrants, they are just going about causing problem up and down because they know that their information is not in the database. There's no way of tracing them, and because of that, they keep perpetrating
feel like it's
evil
safe for them to do that.
So I see the reason why the governments are actually taking people back to their home country.
They have the right to do that.
Yeah, they have the right to do that because somebody cannot just come into your country and start turning things upside down. I know that this particular policy is going to affect a lot of innocent people, but what needs to be done has to be done. You understand?
Yeah.
So let me know what you guys think. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye. Guys.